was so outrageous, so unbelievable.
Their relationship was like a powder keg. Those two had such sexual attraction.
The reality show Cops is there waiting to capture every second.
This is Sergeant Frank Ramsey, Boynton Beach Police Department. Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed. He's been killed, ma'am.
Can you imagine you come home from a simple morning at the gym and you find out that your husband's been murdered?
I can't listen, man.
Listen, is there anybody that you know that you think would want to kill your husband?
Did you ever love Mike DiPolito?
Yes. I married him because I loved him.
Did you want your husband dead?
No, absolutely not. I'm in intensive therapy now, just trying to cope with everything that's happened because it's hard.
How do you explain then what we saw and what we heard on those videotapes?
Sure you want to see what he's doing?
And that's when Dalia DiPolito says the phrase that goes around the world.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure, like.
Okay.
With evidence like that, what seems like evidence, how did she end up going to trial not once, not twice,
Dalia DiPolito walking out of 3 women,
but 3 times? It is reality TV on steroids. It's a cloudy morning in sleepy Boynton Beach, Florida. It's just before 6 a.m. It's already a humid 80 degrees, and most people are still asleep, but not 26-year-old newlywed Dalia DiPolito.
On August 5th, 2009, Dalia and Mike DiPolito had just passed their 6-month wedding anniversary. He's in bed in the morning, and Dalia gets up and goes to the gym at 6 a.m.
The LA Fitness in Boynton Beach.
He's groggy, it's early morning, he's still in bed.
She tells Mike on the way out, I'm going to the gym, maybe I'll bring you Starbucks on the way home.
In the middle of her workout, Dalia receives a phone call from the Boynton Beach police.
Sorry, I just missed your call. Please leave this message, and I will return your call as soon as I can.
This is Sergeant Frank Ramsey, Boynton Beach Police Department Detective Division. I need you to call me as soon as you can, ma'am.
A few seconds after missing the call, she calls the number, and it's the Boynton Beach police asking her to come home.
Okay, can you come right back to your residence, please?
Yeah, I'm leaving right now. Is it okay?
Ma'am, I'll tell you everything you need to know when you get here.
There were cameras everywhere, including from the hit TV show Cops.
She goes rushing up, looking very confused. You see her in her black leggings, her tight spaghetti strap tank top.
Listen, we had a report of a disturbance at your house, and there were shots fired.
Once she arrived, that's when she was told that her husband was killed.
Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed. He's been killed, ma'am.
And that's when she falls into his arms, wailing. She is screaming. She's saying, no, 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 no.
Try to calm down. Listen, right now we need to get you...
From the perspective of neighbors, they see this nice young couple, and next thing they know, something horrible has happened there. And they're all wondering, who would want to kill Mike DiPolito? Is it random? Is it somebody that could have come into my house?
My name is Jillian Jalali, and I have a podcast called Court Junkie. This case has it all as far as true crime is concerned.
Mike and Dalia seemed to be a perfect match. It was truly a fairy tale.
Dalia's father was Egyptian and her mother was Peruvian.
She was born Dalia Muhammad.
Dalia comes from a religious family, very close-knit family.
And when she was 13 years old, her family moved to Boynton Beach, Florida, where she essentially grew up.
Boynton Beach is located in Palm Beach County. Well, that's a pretty glitzy county in Florida.
When people think of Palm Beach County, they often think of Mar-a-Lago, where President Trump lives. He has that resort there. Boynton Beach, 15 miles away, is a typical American suburb.
It's sort of a middle class, more of a blue-collar community.
Dalia lived in a gated community. She lived there with her mother. Some describe her as beautiful. She's certainly attractive, especially when she's got her hair and makeup done.
I first met Dalia Dippolito back in 2015.
Has your story been told yet, truthfully?
No, it hasn't.
How would you describe your personality?
Really bubbly, very friendly, really social.
What types of values were you raised with? What was important in your family?
We were constantly doing family activities, family vacations, and a lot of family dinners. We had big Sunday dinners.
What were your hopes for her?
To grow up, be married, be happy, and have kids.
Dalia grows up and she becomes supposedly a real estate agent.
But the problem is that actually takes a lot of really hard work, and she's much more into the quick buck.
I think she was a woman who early on decided there were certain things in life she wanted, and she was going to use her sexuality to get them.
Money. She wants money.
Some people might call Dalia a gold digger, and if she could see maybe a fast buck in someone, she was going to go for it.
Enter Mike Dippolito. He says that when he met Dalia, she was working as a paid escort.
He meets her on a website called eros.com. He was ordering an escort to keep him company over the weekend. He ordered her like a pizza.
Mike Dippolito is an interesting guy. Just like Dalia, he wants a lavish lifestyle. He yearns for the finer things in life.
Michael Dippolito was a muscular guy. He worked out, and he liked the high life, too.
What was your initial impression of Mike Dippolito?
Charming.
What drew you to him?
His personality. He was really engaging, and it felt a really strong connection.
So, Mike Dippolito is a very likable guy. He's not afraid to be vulnerable.
And he just seemed sort of like a guy you'd see at the gym, maybe not too bright, but working hard and trying to have a fun life.
Mike describes his first meeting with Dalia, that she was sweet, almost naive.
Give me some insight into what it was like when you first met.
We got into outdoor activities and stuff, and we got bikes, and we started biking together.
What do you think Michael saw in you?
My personality, who I was, my sense of humor. We talked about all kinds of things. We watched the news together. We were big movie people. We both love Starbucks, coffee drinkers.
Mike had a very difficult upbringing, and I think he really yearned to feel loved and to feel safe and taken care of. He had this void that needed to be filled, and she made him feel like he had never felt before. But the problem that Mike had was that he was married at the time.
They start an affair, a hot and heavy and steamy affair.
He said the sex was unbelievable.
Did you have any scruples about getting involved with a man who was still married?
No, I was told that he was going through the divorce proceedings, and he had actually sent me papers showing that he was going through the divorce process.
Not only did Mike Dippolito have a wife, he also had a checkered past.
Well, long before he met Dalia, he'd gone to prison for running a boiler room stock operation.
He was conning old people over the phone.
They would call people up and they would sell them these penny stocks, convince them that these were going to become stocks that were going to be worth a lot of money, but in actually were just scams.
Basically like the movie The Boiler Room.
Listen, I'm presenting you with an investment opportunity that I think you're going to find very interesting.
Where he's cold calling people and trying to get them to invest in foreign currency.
He was ripping people off.
Along the way, he was definitely making enemies.
Mike pled guilty to organized scheme to defraud, unlicensed telemarketing, and grand theft. And he served a total of 2 years in Florida State Prison, followed by 28 years probation.
They're in love. They are determined to leave their past behind. So this ex-con and his former escort are in this whirlwind romance, and 6 months later, they're married.
The way that it happened, it was just so impulsive, and it felt right.
You went down to the county
courthouse? The courthouse the same day, applied for the license. It took a couple of days to, for it to legally be official and everything.
This was a shock to Dalia's mother, Rhonda Muhammad.
And she showed me her ring. I was like, wow, you got engaged? And she says, no, we got married.
And you thought, what?
I wasn't happy at all, but it was time.
If you look at the pictures of them, she has this beautiful smile. He's grinning. They're embracing each other. It looks like true love.
From an outsider looking in, they're the happiest couple.
And that brings us back to that hot August morning in 2009. Mike DiPolito is dead. He has apparently been murdered in his house. And the big question is, why? Who would want to do this?
Police can't help but wonder if this grieving widow is actually keeping a deadly secret.
Are you sure that you don't know anybody who want to kill your husband?
This is Sergeant Frank Ramsey. Ma'am, I need to talk to you. It's very urgent when you come home. It involves your husband. There's been an incident.
Can you imagine you got your whole life ahead of you and you're in love and you're planning everything, and then you come home from a simple morning at the gym and you find out that your husband's been murdered?
I don't wish this on anybody. It's just beyond, words. It's so hard to be able to just fully express.
Your husband, Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am. He's been killed. He's been killed, ma'am.
The condo is surrounded by police cars. The street was mobbed with detectives, crime scene technicians.
I can't let you in, man. We have to do our job. You want to find his killer, okay?
She says, I want to see my husband. And the police say, no, you can't.
If you want to help your husband, you need to go to the station with these gentlemen and tell us everything you know about who he knows, who he's connected to.
And they put her in the police car, and now she's being whisked away to the police station. So they take her to the interrogation room. She's sitting in there.
I'll explain to you what we're going to do. Okay?
They turn the camera on once Dahlia steps into the room to watch her demeanor and to see how she was behaving.
I don't want to be videotaped.
Well, you're being videotaped. That's all part of it.
And still expressing grief and sorrow and disbelief.
I love my husband. We love you too.
No. You don't want to see him.
The police are treating her like a grieving widow. They're doing their investigation into who would want to kill her husband.
Listen, is there anybody that you know that you think would want to kill your husband?
My husband's on probation.
For what?
He's for stock fraud.
Stock fraud?
And in fact, she tries to steer the investigation to the victims that Mike had previously scammed money from.
Did you spend any time in prison? How much?
2 years in prison and 5 years on probation, going on to 6 years.
Oh my God. And what was that for?
It was for taking money. It was like, he explained it like boiler room kind of, where they would take money from people.
She tells them that he had been in prison before for fraud, that he was on probation, and that he still owed restitution, almost $200,000 to several victims.
He's been trying to get off probation, and it's just been nothing but problems the whole time that he's been trying to get off. People weren't happy that he was getting off probation because it's a lot of money he's got to pay back.
She tells them that Mike was just about to get off on probation early, and the people that he had scammed money from were very angry and upset about this.
Well, when you say people, who are you talking about? People that were involved with him before, or?
A little bit of everything. He's constantly running into a lot of the guys that he was on probation with. It was a lot of money. It was $191,000 that he had to pay back.
He's got all these sketchy characters from his past. Yeah, they're the ones.
I guess somehow when he went away, some guys didn't go away. They left the country.
You mean went away, he went to prison?
Right.
Okay.
They left the country. And so somehow he was dealing with some of those guys because they thought that he owed them, and I don't know.
She gave very vague details about, maybe people that could have been angry with him. She didn't provide law enforcement with much information at all.
That's why I'm asking. If you know any names, then we can run these guys down and see what they know.
I don't know if the one guy that I'm telling you about, Pasquale, if he also went away or if he didn't.
She starts to kind of give names and tell them that there are possibilities of people that maybe had wanted to see Mike dead.
Is it Pasquale or Pasquale?
Pasquale.
Then Dahlia starts spilling some of Mike's other secrets, like his substance abuse issues.
He's recovering alcoholic.
Dahlia tells detectives that her husband Mike struggled with demons, alcohol and drugs.
And so with him, it's very important to be like on a schedule and, you know what I mean, like have a system and very organized with everything.
Get up every day, go to the gym, go to Starbucks. He would go to AA meetings. He felt was so important to keep regimented. He did that to make sure that he stayed sober.
And in fact, Mike would have otherwise been at the gym with Dahlia, except he was recovering from liposuction surgery.
We were supposed to go to the gym.
Oh, both of you were supposed to go?
He had like 2 blood handles removed from here.
And so he was laid up. He couldn't exercise, he couldn't go to the gym.
We haven't gone since his surgery, but every morning, 5 a.m., we're both at the gym.
You're lucky.
What?
You're lucky you went to the gym. I don't know if you know, he was shot. He was shot twice. And I want you to know all this.
Do you know this?
Not exactly. I mean, they told me he was shot.
He was found in the bedroom. He was shot twice in the head.
She brought up every negative detail of his life in those moments after she learned that he had been killed.
Well, you know, he's very, he used to be a drug addict. And
what was his drug of choice?
Crack.
Crack? I'm going to be back. What I want to do is call right now. I'm going to go out and get in touch with the officers at the scene. I want to see if the house was burglarized. Okay. All right, just hang on a second.
Thank you.
So when the police exit and Dahlia was still being videotaped, as they leave the room, she starts crying.
A few moments later, the detective comes back in and he has one more question.
There's no problems between you guys, no financial problems, with your family, you and him.
No, there's nothing.
In that police interview, Dahlia paints a rather rosy picture of their relationship. No problems, no drama.
But what everyone would soon learn is there actually was trouble in paradise.
Everything seems great. At least that's what Michael thought.
What he didn't know is that Dahlia Dippolito had another man in her life.
As Dahlia Dippolito sits in that interrogation room, there is still a lot that investigators don't know about her.
She uses men to give her money or to get into their lives so then she could then extract their money from them.
She knew how to use her sex appeal, and she had a lot of it, to get her way. And that's what she did very successfully with men, including Mike Dippolito.
She wanted Mike's house. She wanted all of his money.
She decided, hey, I got to figure out a way to get his stuff. She had several men wrapped around her fingers.
One of those men was a Florida businessman, Mohammed Shihada.
He was a 32-year-old Jordanian national. He was a quasi-actor.
In fact, if you go to the site for Mohammed's talent agency, his online portfolio is still there.
He really enjoyed playing poker and gambling in Las Vegas.
How did you know Mohammed?
I met him a long time ago. He had a convenience store business, and I had actually walked into his store. And that's where we struck up conversation, and we both had Middle Eastern background, and so we just ended up developing a friendship.
And you stayed in touch for how many years?
Throughout the course of maybe like 15 years.
So you considered him a close personal friend?
Considered him a friend. I wouldn't say close.
They began a flirtation, which was very heavily sexually charged. When she needed something, they would rekindle that old flame, so to speak. If she needed to vent about a guy she was dating or a relationship that she was in, she would talk to him. So in July of 2009, after Dahlia was married to Mike, she reached out to Mohammed once again, as she had done over time. She starts a narrative with him about Michael DiPolito.
Dahlia told Mohammed that she was physically abused, that he was controlling, and she just needed out of the marriage.
Were there any stresses on the marriage?
We got into little arguments and things, but it wasn't anything major.
But Dahlia tells Mohammed that her husband is abusive, emotionally abusive, so much so that a regular divorce isn't going to cut it. So she wants Mike out of her life for good and turns to Mohammed for help.
She wants for a more permanent solution to her problems.
Dahlia confides in Mohammed that she wants Mike DiPolito killed. They meet at a gas station in Boynton Beach. Dahlia tells Mohammed that she's desperate, that she needs to have Mike killed.
It's a common thread throughout these types of cases. Beautiful women, and they also often involve allegations of abuse.
Mohammed is really nervous that if Mike DiPolito is killed, that law enforcement would come back to him. And he didn't want that to happen. And he didn't want Mike to be killed.
Mohammed Shahadi is actually the person that called police and said that Dahlia DiPolito was planning to murder her husband.
We had a gentleman come into the police department advising they had some information in reference to a young lady that wanted her husband killed.
They captured this first conversation that they had with Mohammed on a tape recorder.
Okay, tell us what happened.
She asked if I knew someone who can kill her husband for her. I said, basically, no, I don't. She tells me, though, he's the nicest, sweetest nerd, but she can't stand him.
So at first we weren't sure what we had.
Do you know where she lives?
No.
At the time, we didn't know what to believe.
Her last name, I don't know.
Here's a gentleman who walks in. According to him, he's had a sexual relationship with this young lady, but he wasn't sure exactly where she lived or her last name.
Describe her.
She's maybe 5'6", 5'7", dark black hair, green eyes. She's a good-looking girl, really good-looking girl, actually.
The fact that somebody was going to get killed, it was bothering his conscience.
Did she ask you to find someone for her?
Yes.
So after that first interview, law enforcement realizes that they're going to need to talk to Mohammed again.
What cops want Mohammed to do next is bold and risky. They want to set up a sting.
They say, we want you to put a wire on, and we want you to get her to outline this plan to kill her husband.
So Mohammed morphs into a confidential informant.
We have the informant contact the suspect by phone and set up a meeting so we can ID her. The mobile gas station was one of those places where they've met before in the past, so we decided to make that the location.
All right, you good to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
All right, good.
So police outfit Mohammed's car with some cameras, and they put a wire on him.
Hey, what's up?
And a few seconds later, she begins talking about getting her husband killed.
There's no small talk. Mohammed and Dahlia launch right into a secretly recorded conversation detailing Dahlia's murderous intentions.
At first, it seems like her motive might be Mike's money.
Honestly, you work seriously gonna kill him over that much money?
It's not even over like it's not even about money.
Dahlia has no idea that every word coming out of her mouth is being caught on camera.
Okay, well, all I'm trying to say is this guy's a professional. It's not all he does is get it done, that's it.
Right.
This is where he actually says he was going to introduce her to a hitman.
I know him, you know, like, he's good at it.
We realized that this guy was credible.
But now, how am I supposed to know what day he's going to do it?
We were shocked how easily she talked about getting her husband killed.
He might tell you, oh, like, to get out of town or something for a day.
I'm not going out of town.
You even hear during the conversation her talk about no one would ever believe that she could be capable of murder.
His mom is not going to get suspicious of you or anything like
Why
that.
me? You know what
telling somebody, you know, nobody's going to be able to point a finger at me.
She ended up bringing $1,200 in cash. She believed that that money was going to be given to the hitman to buy a gun.
Yeah, go
All right,
ahead.
I'll try.
She also bought 2 pictures.
I have a picture of him right now. You're sure everything else is okay?
Yeah.
You're sure?
Yo, what more sure can you want? You're planning a murder. Come on, stop, yo.
She's made a down payment on death.
And now Dalia DiPolito is about to come face to face with the assassin.
But little does she know, she is walking into a trap.
After Mohammed Shihada alerts Boynton Beach police about Dalia DiPolito's deadly plan, Dalia meets face-to-face with that hitman.
What she doesn't know is this hitman she's about to meet is actually Witty Jean, Boynton Beach police officer who is working undercover on this case.
They agreed on a location, which was a CVS parking lot in the city of Boynton Beach.
Pretty much parking this exact spot right here. We had 2 cameras in the car. The cameras were positioned in the back seat. You can't help being a bit nervous as you're doing this.
Remember, there's 1,000 things that can go wrong.
She parked and got into the car and she said, hey.
Dalia shows up to the meeting with Witty, and she's wearing a cute little sundress. She's almost flirtatious with him in the car.
We wanted to make sure that she caught my attention in my eyes. The way she was dressed, pretty much, I'm like, okay, you know, she wants to show off her body. So, you know, I have to give her a compliment. I told her, hey, you know, you look good. Hey, you look good.
She clearly thought she was talking to a hitman, and to her, this was something that had to be done.
How soon can you get everything going?
Well, that's up to you.
I mean, you're gonna sound like this week.
We were shocked how easily she talked about getting her husband killed.
She gave me definitely a sense of urgency. You cannot wait to make it happen. If you're going to make it happen, you have to make it happen this week. I'll give you a quick breakdown of what I've done so far. We talked about money, how much money she's going to pay me. At one point she said, well, I thought that I already gave you the $1,200. So I went to buy my gun, okay, and a couple hundred, for other people to do things. Right. You know what I mean? When I had to explain to her, $100 is nothing. I had to buy a gun, I had to buy a phone, I had to buy this car.
As she starts talking, what's going on in the minds of the police officers is, wow, this woman is real. This plot is real.
As a matter of fact, I've already spent more money, just to get it here.
Right.
Trying to tell her, look, however, which way you want it done, I'll do it. So I just want to make sure that, this is what you want. Sure you want to kill this dude.
When she's meeting with the hitman, he's telling her, look, there is no turning back. When I leave you today, you have no way to reach me.
I explained to Dalia that after today, she wouldn't be able to find me to cancel this whole plan that we put together. When it's done, you have to have an option to change your mind.
And that's when Dalia DiPolito says the phrase that goes around the world.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure. Like,
okay.
No, there's no, I'm determined already. I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
Her line is classic. I am like 5,000% sure, right? So it's, she is so committed to this.
Like 5,000% sure.
I didn't think she was going to be that open. I'm 5,000% sure. When I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
I'm a lot tougher than what I look. I know you're like, oh, what a cute little girl, whatever. But I'm not.
She told me she may look like an innocent little girl, but she's a whole lot tougher than she looks. The most surprising thing about my meeting with Dalia was how adamant she was in making sure that this was done. All right, well, good morning, By the time you get back from the gym, you're going to find a dead body in the house. All right?
As the Boynton Beach Police Department are preparing for their starring role in this true crime drama, the Cops television show are like flies on the wall, recording every bit of it.
Our police officers, our detectives, our professional staff, they every day are doing things in our community to keep people safe and to save lives. And for us, it was a great way to showcase that and to let the community and the larger community know what these heroes are doing every day.
Now, the Boynton Beach police say that show had been interested in their department for several months. And arguably, their cameras never captured a scene quite like this one. They are about to hit the jackpot.
Everybody knows why we're here. Chachi, you and Brian will go with me. Frank or somebody will call the wife.
Just like the undercover instructed her to leave the house, she did.
And she grabs a smoothie, and she grabs her purse, and she says, "Bye, Mike," and she goes off to the gym.
Delia is at the local LA Fitness, but back at her condo, police are there setting up an elaborate trap.
That looks good. I like it. We've had set up a fake crime scene around the house, yellow tape around the streets, around the house. We make it look like her husband had gotten killed inside the house.
At 6:21 a.m., as Dahlia DiPolito was working out, that's when she misses that call from the sergeant at the Boynton Beach Police Department.
Sergeant Ramsey, can I help you? Is this Miss DiPolito, please?
He intentionally pronounces her name wrong to throw her off.
Once he got her on the phone, told her that something had happened and we needed her to come to the house.
They needed to break some news to her.
No, ma'am, I need to talk to you. Ma'am, I'll tell you everything you need to know when you get here.
As Dahlia approaches, she sees what's really a crime scene. She sees police, tape blocked off.
So the condo is surrounded by police cars. There's a crime scene van, there's crime scene tape, her apartment's roped off with the tape.
The front door to the townhouse is wide open with black fingerprint dust everywhere.
Dahlia arrives from LA Fitness from going to the gym.
And she rushes up. Dahlia DiPolito doesn't know she's being set up right now.
A really buff police sergeant tells her, "Your husband has been murdered."
Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am, he's been killed.
Before the words are even out of his mouth, she starts crying.
And he even hugs her, and she figures she's got them wrapped around her finger just like all these other men. And little does she know, her world is about to come crashing down.
I tell you, ma'am, he's been killed.
Going into his arms.
She's wailing.
As I watch her breakdown as she starts to cry before the word killed is even said, this was the role that she had practiced.
And the play acting continues when they get Dahlia into that interrogation room. Everyone was in character that morning, including the undercover police officer, Woody Jean, who suddenly appears in the interrogation room to make a cameo appearance of his own.
You know who this guy is?
And tell us everything you know about who he knows, who he's connected to. Don't worry, we've already taken care of dogs with animal control for right now. Everything's under control.
Dahlia's acting, and the police are acting. As she's brought to the police station, everyone involved is faking it.
They think they have the goods to charge Dahlia DiPolito, but the police still want to see if they can make her crack. They're going to give her every opportunity to own up to what they suspect she did.
You have the right to remain silent and not answer any questions. Do you understand that?
She absolutely thinks that she has everybody fooled.
He was found in the bedroom. He was shot twice in the head.
He wouldn't open the door unless it's somebody that he knows, because we don't open for anybody.
She believes that she's going to be able to convince law enforcement that she truly loved Mike and that she had nothing to do with his murder.
When the police asked Dahlia if she wanted her husband killed by any chance, she denied it, completely denied it. No.
You wouldn't want to kill him, I hope. Not at all.
We are fine, like there's nothing.
Dahlia DiPolito is pretending she knew nothing about this, and the police are pretending like her husband is actually dead.
Did you want your husband dead?
No, absolutely not.
Did you want any harm to befall him? Never.
No, never.
Suddenly, the tide begins to turn, and the police get tough with Dahlia.
They've had enough with her charade and with her lies.
Police are thinking that by ushering in that would-be hitman, the man that she paid to murder her husband, surely that will get her to come clean.
Do you know her?
Put your head up and look at her.
Put your head up.
I've never seen her.
What were you doing coming out of her house? Come out here.
Inside, I was kind of laughing because I knew that I spent a good 25 minutes talking to her, and hearing her saying that she's never met me was pretty shocking.
She denies ever meeting him, and she doesn't know who he is.
And then the detective all of a sudden goes from being the grandfatherly figure that he had been into more of a aggressive.
You're going to jail today for solicitation of murder. You're under arrest. That's an undercover police officer. We filmed everything that you did, recorded everything that you did. You're going to jail for solicitation of first-degree murder of your husband.
I didn't do anything.
Did you hear what I just told you?
I heard what you said, but I didn't.
Everything, listen to me. Everything has been recorded. You were photographed in the convertible when you sat in this car in the front of CBS. What do you want to do?
I don't think for a second that she thought that investigators in the interrogation room were going to turn on her.
Listen to
I
me.
didn't do anything.
You're going to
I
jail.
didn't do anything, please. I didn't do anything.
Can you talk about that moment when you realized the tables were turned?
I panicked. I was just completely frozen, and I couldn't move. I couldn't really process and digest everything that was going on.
Shockingly, the Boynton Beach Police Department media director posted the video of the staged crime scene.
The Boynton Beach Police uploaded the video the same day.
This was our way of getting video to our local media. We uploaded the video just as we did dozens of other videos.
We see this stunning video of this takedown, this woman crying and wailing. We've never seen anything like it.
It's always a risky move for the authorities to release any information during an investigation. But Florida is one of the most open states in the country when it comes to sharing information with the public.
In a matter of hours, we were getting phone calls from national and international media.
I need you to take her to the station.
I thought it was going to be a very hot story. There's the jilted husband, there's money, there's video.
If you want to help your husband, okay? If you want to help your husband.
We were stunned. We were delighted.
When law enforcement confronts her with all of the evidence that she wants Mike DiPolito dead, Dahlia denies that.
Listen to
I
me.
didn't do anything.
You're going to
I
jail.
didn't do anything, please. I didn't do anything.
She's sticking to her script. She's crying.
And with the spotlight on Dahlia, the grand finale is about to unfold.
So finally they say, guess what? He's alive.
He's alive.
Come here, please. Come here.
Mike, come here, please. Come here.
3 words to describe Dahlia. Liar, liar, liar.
Give me 3 words to describe yourself. Who is Dahlia DiPolito?
Understanding, sweet, and compassionate.
3 words to describe Dahlia. Liar, liar, liar.
I didn't do anything, and I didn't plot anything.
It wasn't like, kill him softly, don't hurt him. It was like, just blow the guy's brains out and, can I get a cheese sandwich with that?
I'm positive, like 5,000% Charlotte.
I see somebody who's struggling.
What? How is she struggling if she's 5,000% sure?
The whole crime's caught on tape. I mean, what do you do with that?
It was a show. It was a tape. That was the purpose of it.
You were acting in those tapes.
Yes.
Liar, liar, liar.
He comes up with a defense that rocks the community. This was all for a reality show. She knew she was being taped. She and Mike wanted to be stars.
The thing about reality TV is that anybody can do it. Anybody can become famous.
I don't know what reality show a 40-year-old convicted felon could be on.
They wanted to post it on YouTube to try to get acting parts. That was the plan.
It was so far out of left field that they might just believe it.
Even now, 11 years after the story first broke, the twists keep coming in the Dalia Dippolito story.
On August 5th, 2009, Dalia Dippolito's life changed forever.
Thank you for coming. I'm sorry to call you.
First, police tell her her husband is dead.
Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am. He's been killed.
Then she's told she's been caught on tape planning his murder.
You're going to jail.
I didn't do anything, please. I didn't do anything.
Tell me you didn't do anything?
I didn't do anything.
You're going to jail today.
You kept saying, I didn't do anything. Just over and over and over again. Was that all you could think of to say?
They were accusing me of trying to have my husband killed, and I didn't. So that's what I kept continuously telling them.
When they turn the table, she doesn't fess up. She just keeps denying everything. And lacking that confession, they kept trying to shock her more and more.
And this is the part where what happens in that police department will go down in the history of detective work. This is a masterstroke.
The ultimate shock, you could call it a resurrection of sorts. Police tell her that her dead husband isn't actually dead.
Your husband is well and alive.
Thank God.
Oh, yeah, thank God.
Can I see
No, he
him?
doesn't want to see you.
They bring Mike in. Look, your husband's alive. We've got you.
Oh my God.
He's alive.
The show Cops is at the station capturing Mike's reaction.
Come here, please. Come here.
She keeps begging him to come inside the room, which he doesn't.
Mike, come here. Come here, please.
She sees her husband, and he's alive. What? You're alive?
This is a dead man walking and talking. You never see this happen.
Can't fix this.
Why not? I didn't do anything.
I heard you.
Mike, come here, please. Come here.
All of her skills as a femme fatale will start rolling in. Mike, come here, baby, come to me.
With cameras rolling inside and outside the interrogation room, it is reality TV on steroids.
I don't know what's going on, please.
For Mike Dippolito, it's a surreal love story that quickly turned into a nightmare.
He never saw it coming. For Mike, this was a whirlwind romance. He was head over heels in love with Dalia.
I met Dalia and we got along very well. There was never any friction. We never argued. How can I say? Our sex life was incredible.
Meanwhile, the entire time she's plotting behind his back.
There's this side to his wife he has no idea about.
Mike Dippolito insists that the accusations made by Dalia Dippolito that he was abusive are totally false. Still, Dalia secretly wants out of the relationship. And authorities say if she can get out with a pile of Mike's money, that's even better.
Mike Dippolito still owed $191,000 restitution, and he was on probation for decades. If he could make that restitution, he could make an argument to get off probation.
But he says Dalia told him she could help him with that.
Dalia said, if you can come up with $100,000, I will take $91,000 of my own. I'll put it with your money and we'll send it to the lawyer together. It was her responsibility to wire the money to Mike's lawyer.
She says she's helping him. He thinks that she is. But in reality, she's doing anything but helping him.
Soon Mike notices odd things are starting to happen.
Before I met her, I don't think I had a run-in with the police since I've been home from prison. I meet her, I'm running into the cops more than I ran into the cops probably ever in my life.
Mike will soon find out that someone is trying to frame him for crimes he didn't commit.
On 2 occasions, drugs were planted in his vehicle. Mike decides to take Dalia away for a couple of days to the Ritz-Carlton. Mike is stopped by a police officer, and The police officer tells Mike that they had received an anonymous call saying that he was dealing drugs out of his Tahoe.
He goes, "Do you mind if we search?" I said, "Absolutely, go ahead." He searched the truck, didn't find anything. It was very odd. And then the next day, I go to get gas in the truck, and I find a bag of pills. It looked like cocaine in there. And that's when that hit me. I said, wait a minute. You know, somebody put this in my truck and called the police on me. They just didn't find it.
Authorities say Dahlia figures he's an ex-con, and if she can get him sent away for drugs, he'll be gone for a really long time, and she's home free.
I remember I looked at Dahlia, I said, "Did you put drugs in my truck?" She adamantly denied it, so I let it go. Fine, fine. But you know, every instinct's telling me that it doesn't make sense.
In fact, according to authorities, what she's really trying to do is get Mike DiPolito out of her life.
And that $100,000 he'd given to Dahlia, she was supposed to wire it to his lawyer, but she hadn't.
I knew clearly she stole my money. She's telling me she's going to get it back, and I'm doing everything in my power to believe her.
He just stays in the relationship. He seemed to be, I don't know, for lack of a better word, a chump for love.
Your ex-husband Michael claims you stole a lot of money from him. Money that was supposed to be used to pay his restitution. Did that happen?
No. It's money that he was hiding.
Police say that after her plot to try to get him jailed doesn't work, she ups the ante.
One morning, he gets a knock at the door.
We knocked on his door, and we actually woke him up.
All I see is a bunch of cops, and I'm like, oh boy. I go downstairs.
Police department, open your door.
I hesitantly open the door.
First, he didn't know what was going on.
I thought they were there to arrest me.
And we ended up telling him what we were there for.
You have to come with us. Your wife's going to have you killed today.
Your wife has hired a person to kill you.
Just relax. Take it easy.
Clearly, this just hits him like a ton of bricks. I mean, he literally takes a step back.
We ended up taking him out of the house and driving him straight to the Point Beach Police Department.
You already know why we're here. Your wife hired somebody to kill you.
I also played a little bit of audio where she says, hey, I'm 5,000% sure that I want him killed.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
It wasn't like, you know, kill him softly, don't hurt him. It was like, you know, just blow the guy's brains out and, you know, can I get a cheese sandwich with that?
Even from behind bars, Dahlia is not finished trying to manipulate Mike DiPolito when she makes an astonishing phone call.
Well, hello. Hey, it's me.
Yeah, what's up?
Nothing, Mike. Please come here.
Is she ready to confess, or is this something else?
Everybody asked me, why'd you take the phone call? I had to take the phone call.
As Dahlia DiPolito is being led out of the Boynton Beach Police Department and over to the Palm Beach County Jail, she has an audience.
The press, having seen the video released by police, is there to greet her.
Already, the media is out there with their cameras capturing it.
I didn't do anything, and I didn't plot anything.
You were headed to jail. What was that first night like?
It was a complete nightmare. I wasn't even officially in jail as the tapes were getting released, and they were already all over the news. They were everywhere.
Till death do them part. And it's all caught on video.
In the hours since the police released the tape to YouTube, the name Dahlia DiPolito is making the rounds and is making a big giant splash on cable TV.
Bombshell tonight.
A newlywed in Boynton Beach, Florida.
Work it, cry. Problem, Ruh-roh, the hitman, is a cop. I could just watch the video over and over. It just is one of those clips that never gets old. The crying, the screaming, the bending over. Meryl Streep, wherever you are tonight, don't worry, you're safe.
You became a headline around the world. Everyone knew your name.
It was awful.
While in jail, Dahlia makes a few tearful phone calls, first to her mother.
Hello? Mom, I'm in jail. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything.
You did. I know you didn't. I know you didn't. Okay. How many times did I told you to leave that guy? How many times did I tell you?
But her next phone call is unfathomable. From the jail, she calls Mike, the man police say she has just tried to have killed, and offers him no apologies.
Well,
hello?
Hey, it's me.
Yeah, what's up?
Nothing, Mike. Can you please come here?
Everybody asked me, why'd you take the phone call? I had to take the phone call. I had to hear what she was going to say. I couldn't help myself to not take that phone call.
Mike, please, I need an attorney. Can you please help me?
You said you wanted to have me killed. I heard that.
It's not true. That is not true.
Not true.
How can you believe that?
I heard your voice.
Frankly, it's unbelievable that Dahlia called her husband, the victim in this case, the target of her actions, the person she wanted dead, to ask him to help her.
It is just unbelievable to listen to. The fact that she thought that she could demand that Mike help her is just on another level.
And he's even trying to give her advice as to what to do while she's in jail.
You're going to be ran around in there for a little while, a couple days. You need to just try and just go with it. And keep to yourself and don't say a lot.
I know she's never been in there before. I mean, it's not a nice place. I tried to tell her, stop acting, you know, the way you're acting, or you're going to have a rough time in there.
Mike, I love you. Everybody treated me awful good.
Things get spelled out for Mike that he was a very lucky man. Prosecutors say that Mike actually survived an earlier attempt on his life.
When Mohammed Shihada was giving a statement to police, he told them that Dahlia had poisoned Mike's Starbucks iced tea with antifreeze. So law enforcement, they just ask him, was there ever an incident with iced tea? And Mike then realized that he was a lot closer to his demise than he ever realized.
She went out and came back with some Starbucks iced teas. I take a sip and I spit it out so fast. It was terrible and I didn't think anything of it. I only took one sip. I was sick for about 2 weeks.
Dahlia's attorney said she never poisoned Mike.
Mike doesn't end up helping her find an attorney, but the attorney she does find ends up presenting one bizarre, wacky, intriguing defense.
It was a stunt. It was a hoax, a ruse, a plan that Mike DiPolito hoped to capture the attention of someone in reality TV.
You were acting in those tapes.
Yes.
It didn't make an iota of sense to me.
It was so far out of left field that they might just believe it.
We begin with the trial of a Florida woman arrested for plotting to kill her husband.
Your trial. Can you describe what that experience was like for you?
Confusing, really difficult. The cameras were there. The TV shows were actually filming the whole thing as I'm entering the courthouse.
Dahlia DiPolito entered the courthouse in a buttoned-up white sweater to meet the men and women who will likely decide her fate.
I have never had a case as a prosecutor that was so strong.
I'm a lot tougher than what I look. I know you see me and you're like, oh, what a cute little girl, whatever. You know, but I'm not.
You will see how determined she was to have Mike DiPolito, her husband, killed.
In opening statements, the prosecutor, Elizabeth Parker, wants to make sure these jurors don't believe that Dahlia is this little innocent figure and that she is a much darker, more evil person.
He asked her, "Are you sure you want to kill him?" Without hesitation, as if she had ice running through her veins, she says, "There's no changing. I'm determined already. My biggest concern, the evidence seemed to be overwhelming. But you have Mike, who's got a shady past. I knew the defense would make him out to be a con man.
Please tell us your name.
Michael DiPolito.
What's awesome about this case is that the jury actually gets to hear from the victim. In a plot to kill somebody, the victim is almost always dead.
I don't know how to explain it. I just don't know how to explain it.
He was a likable character. I knew that I just needed to get him on the stand for long enough to have the jury like him too. What did you think of your marriage?
I thought it was great. I was having fun with my wife. It's getting off probation, I thought.
Did the defendant seem happy?
Yes.
He completely owns up to his past.
I'm a convicted felon. I go to probation every month and report. I hold my head up as high as I can.
On cross-examination, when Dalia DiPolito's lawyer keeps asking him and keeps repeating the word probation, Mike DiPolito bites back and makes the entire courtroom laugh.
You're like a parrot.
A parrot?
Yeah.
What does that mean? I've been called a lot of things. What's a parrot?
Did you do that on probation? Were you on probation? Did you do that on probation? Were you on probation? You know what I'm talking about. I'm just having fun with you. Come on, I'm with you.
You having fun with me? Let me ask you something. Is this fun, Mr. DiPolito?
This sucks.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. I am not here. We're not here because of me. I might as well. You might as well put me up next. I mean, what are we doing here?
But another Mike is about to make an entrance into the trial. Mike Stanley, an ex-boyfriend of Dalia's.
And you're gonna meet Michael Stanley.
Who prosecutors say discussed with Dalia planting the drugs in Mike DiPolito's truck.
So, the prosecution introduced tons of text messages between Dalia and Mike Stanley.
They were talking about everything they wanted to do once DiPolito was out the way.
So their X-rated conversation is read on the stand by Boynton Beach detective Alex Marino.
Do you want my hot, tight body all over you?
You can just see how uncomfortable this police officer is as he's reading these steamy text messages.
Love you so much. I'm so horny for you. Some of the stuff was kind of cheesy. I mean, I had to read it up on the stand. It was not my best moment. Baby, I love you, and I only want to you.
She's telling Mike Stanley, once this guy's gone, you and I can have the life we've imagined. I will have Michael's money, we'll have this condo, everything will be good.
Greed was the very basic core of why Dalia did this.
Parker says when Dalia's plan to put her husband back in prison failed, that's when she took things a step further.
Yeah, but killing somebody, come on. Nobody's gonna be able to point a finger at me.
I'm determined already. I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
After the prosecution rests, now it's the defense's turn, and they are going to use that infamous video for their own purposes.
That's where this novel defense theory came into play, a defense theory that was actually a little hard to believe.
The plot for the contract killing of Mike DiPolito was never real.
He comes up with a defense that rocks the community, which is, this was all for a reality show. She knew she was being taped. She and Mike wanted to be stars. So they came up with this idea, and it was all a hoax. It was Mike DiPolito's idea, and Mike DiPolito was in on it, and she's not guilty.
It was a stunt. It was a hoax, a ruse, a plan that Mike DiPolito hoped to capture the attention of someone in reality TV.
Dalia's lawyers claim that Mike and Dalia DiPolito wanted to be famous. They wanted to be like the stars of Cheaters or Jersey Shore.
Salnick presents a computer forensic expert who found that Dalia had searched reality shows on her computer.
The website name is, it says, welcome to realitytvcastingcall.com.
It fits with his obsession about his appearance, his vanity, and others might be interested in his reality.
I was shocked. I mean, where was the evidence that this was a reality show plot?
Dalia, listen to me for a second, okay?
I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything.
At no time does she ever stand up and say, well, hold on a minute. This was all, Michael, Mohammed, wait a minute. This is all a setup. We were all acting, right? Wouldn't be that the first thing out of your mouth if you're about to be arrested?
And not only that, Mike DiPolito strenuously denied that it had anything to do with reality TV tryouts.
Did you ever have aspirations to be on a reality show?
No.
Did you ever act out any scenarios with a defendant for a reality show?
No. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I couldn't even believe they made something like that up. I don't know what reality show a 40-year-old convicted felon could be on.
This defense received a fair amount of eyebrow raising.
She didn't want to kill her husband. She just wanted to be on a reality show.
A pretty shocking twist in the case of the Florida wife caught on tape taking a contract out on her husband. Well, we got to bring in our legal analyst, Dan Abrams, on this one. And Dan, all of us just shook our heads when we heard this.
I've seen a lot of wild and crazy defenses in my day, and this is certainly one of the wildest and one of the craziest. The reaction to this defense was, are you kidding me? This is an almost impossible defense to win. And so I think in order for it to succeed, Dalia Dippolito would have to take the witness stand.
Judge, the defense is going to rest.
But Dalia does not end up testifying.
It was a daily, yes, you're going to testify, no, you're not going to testify. And
Did you want to testify?
Yes, I did.
She's like poison candy. Attractive on the outside, but deadly on the inside. I was confident in the case that I had presented. I was truly concerned that it was such a bizarre defense.
I've been advised that the jury has reached a verdict.
Except this was nowhere near the end of this story.
Now closing arguments continue in the Dalia Dippolito murder for hire trial.
And this case will go to the jury before lunch.
It was a typically hot day in Florida, but that is not why Dalia Dippolito was sweating. She was facing up to 30 years behind bars.
Waiting for the verdict. What was that like?
It's nerve-wracking. It's just really stressful, really tense.
I've been advised that the jury has reached a verdict.
The jury took just 3 hours to come to a decision.
We find the defendant guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree murder.
I was numb. It wasn't at all what I was expecting to hear. I never had the impression or the understanding from my attorney that losing was a possibility. Everything was always, you know what, we got this.
Wow.
We have really good poker faces, apparently.
We all just said, well, she's guilty.
Yeah.
It was just kind of unanimous.
And the defense didn't present anything that really represented this was for a reality TV show.
And she said, I am 5,000% sure. And that did it for me.
There is absolutely no moral justification for your conduct. It was pure evil. I'm sentencing you to 20 years in the Department of Corrections.
I looked at her in that courtroom and I just said to myself, man, this is sad. I wish we were never here. And as far as the sentence, I'm 5,000% happy with it.
That seemed to be it. Case closed. Except this was nowhere near the end of this story.
Everybody thinks, bye-bye, Dalia, that's it. But it turns out she got an appeal.
In the last hours, the Black Widow, Dalia Dippolito, set to walk free.
The appeals court tosses out the conviction.
Dalia's lawyers argue there was a problem during jury selection. And then, 3 years later, a court agrees. And so Dalia Dippolito is getting a new trial.
Were you surprised?
The first piece of good news throughout the whole process.
So now we move on to Dalia round 2. That's right, she's coming back a second time. And this time, there's a new cast of players.
For this second trial, Dalia hires 2 high-profile lawyers she's seen on TV, Mark Eiglarsh and Brian Claypool.
Defense attorney Brian Claypool. Nice to see you both.
I am 5,000% sure Dalia Dippolito is innocent.
Dalia's new lawyers allow her to speak publicly for the first time, and that's when I had the opportunity to exclusively interview her.
Your every move is monitored.
Clearly, the strategy was for Dalia to try and undergo a bit of an image rehabilitation.
When people hear the name Dalia Dippolito, what do you think comes to mind?
Everything negative.
Give me 3 words to describe yourself. Who is Dahlia Dippolito?
Understanding, sweet, and compassionate.
Because it was a pre-trial interview, Dahlia's lawyers wouldn't let her discuss certain parts of the case, particularly those videotapes.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure. Like.
Did you hire a hitman to kill your husband?
No.
How do you explain then what we saw and what we heard on those videotapes?
I'd like to be able to explain that to you right now, but I can't because the attorneys legally have told me that we're saving that for our day in court.
In our interview, Dahlia's lawyer, Brian Claypool, reiterated that reality TV defense that we saw in her first trial.
Dahlia, her ex Mike, and this gentleman Mohammed were all part of this collaboration to put together a YouTube video of a scene where they're hiring somebody to kill somebody. They wanted to submit that, post it on YouTube to try to get acting parts. That was the plan. It got out of control.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
5,000% sure, not 100% sure, not 1,000% sure, but 5,000% sure. How do you explain that?
I look at that video and I see somebody who's struggling with whether she's really sure.
She's struggling? What?
Why? Well,
how is she struggling if she's 5,000% sure?
Well, you might find that humorous, but when I hear people say they're sure, I'm 110% sure. She's trying to overcompensate.
As for Mohammed, he denies working with Mike and Dahlia to make a video to try and get acting jobs.
Mike Dippolito says he's never even met Mohammed.
What do you say to people who say you're just denying the undeniable, that this is an open and shut case?
That now with the attorneys that I have, so much is coming to light to where it would just be insane to not believe me. The tape was a show, it was a tape. That was the purpose of it.
You were acting in those tapes?
Yes.
But you're telling the truth now?
Yes.
Why should we believe you?
Because it's what happened. It's the truth.
Dahlia Dippolito escorted into court by her attorneys for her second trial.
Dahlia's second trial is going to shock a lot of people in a number of ways.
Claypool dropped this bomb.
He just throws off like it's nothing. And by the way, if you send her to prison, you're going to be separating her from her infant son. What infant son?
Walking on the sidewalk right now, this doesn't happen very often.
No, this doesn't happen at all. This is the first time I've had to walk in a long time.
Yeah, your every move is monitored.
I took a rare walk with Dahlia Dippolito outside her lawyer's office while she was on house arrest, awaiting her second trial. She was living in her mother's house, tethered to an ankle bracelet.
This is what it looks like, and it doesn't come off at all.
You've been living under house arrest for the better part of 5 years, nearly 6 years. What's been the hardest part?
Not knowing when it's over, not being able to leave, watching everybody around me being able to come and go as they want, and I can't do that.
After Dahlia's first trial, she was convicted. Prosecutor Liz Parker wrote a book about it called Poison Candy.
This is what she wrote about you. She was poison candy, sweet, delicious, mouth-watering on the outside, but deadly within, and designed to cripple the innocent. What's it like hearing those words?
It's hurtful. When I found out that the book was out, I was suicidal.
Do you think people will change their minds about you when they hear from you in your second trial?
I'd like to believe so.
It's at a pretrial hearing, part of an attempt by her lawyers to get the case dismissed, where Dahlia finally has her chance to tell her side of the story under oath.
Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You take the witness stand on my right.
It's not unusual at all for a defendant to take the stand in a pretrial hearing as long as it's not in front of a jury.
Good afternoon, Ms. DiPolito.
She actually takes the stand, and she gets up and describes that I was acting, she says. I was acting.
We worked together on an acting project. We were all going to work on an actor's presentation to put up on social media.
That did not go well for Dahlia. Under cross-examination, the prosecutor, he just tore her story apart. He was, okay, first of all, where's the script? Where are the notes? Wouldn't you have production notes?
Where was your script this day?
What do you mean, where was it?
Where was it?
It wasn't there. We looked at the script and we didn't take it with us.
Prosecution punches holes in this reality TV defense. One of the questions was, if this is all about reality TV, how come you can't clearly see your face, you know, with the cameras in the back of the car?
How come you can't see any of it?
I wasn't the one taking it. I don't know.
She had so many holes in her story, it made no sense.
Her true self shined through. She was so not convincing at that pretrial hearing under oath that the court ruled against her.
She loses the hearing, and so the motion to dismiss the case fails.
9 months later, it's Dahlia's second trial.
The high-profile retrial getting underway today in West Palm Beach.
Dahlia DiPolito getting a second chance at freedom after her first conviction was overturned.
Trial 2 was handled quite a bit differently by the prosecution. They were going to stick to those videos, and that was it. They didn't even call Michael DiPolito to testify.
Because the rest of the evidence was so powerful, my prosecutors felt that they would just go with the slimmed-down version of the case.
Her words on those videos prove the crime charged.
In the second trial, Dahlia's lawyers abandoned this reality TV defense.
The defense focused on the misconduct, they said, of the Boynton Beach Police Department. They were trying to flip the script and put all the blame on the police.
So far, no mention of that reality show acting defense that she had talked about previously.
Gone is this reality TV nonsense. Now they're leveling their charges against the Boynton Beach Police Department because Boynton Beach had brought cops in.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? That opening theme song, Bad Boys, is so synonymous with the show, a show that is supposed to put a spotlight on the good work police do every day. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? At the beginning, the Boynton Beach Police Department really wanted to highlight their professionalism by participating with the cops' television show, but at the trial, the defense really hammered them and went after them, effectively putting them on trial.
This is a fake crime scene, right? Right?
Yes.
It's all pretend, right?
Yes.
It's all made up, right?
Yes.
And you think that's a good use of taxpayer money?
My opinion doesn't matter.
The presence of the cops' TV show created a frenzy within the Boynton Beach Police Department to manufacture good television. They tossed Dahlia DiPolito under the bus. They made this way more than it ever was. And they could care less about her constitutional rights.
The Boynton Beach police say there was no wrongdoing and they were just trying to gather evidence.
Cops filming with the Boynton Beach Police Department had nothing to do with this investigation. It was just a coincidence as far as timing was concerned.
Then the defense pulls out its ace card, and it's a showstopper.
Claypool gets up, he's making this dramatic closing argument, and he just throws off like it's nothing.
Give her that freedom back to go home to her family and her infant son.
By the way, if you send her to prison, you're going to be separating her from her infant son.
We all sort of are like the reporters in the back row. We're all sort of like, look, did I just hear that she has a child?
The latest bombshell was dropped last night during closing arguments.
Turns out it was the appliance repairman. He came to her house, they fell in love, she got pregnant, and she had a baby, all on house arrest.
And right now, we're on verdict watch in the Dahlia DiPolito retrial.
I think there was a general expectation that she would be convicted.
A bombshell announcement in the murder-for-hire case against Dalia DiPolito.
We, the jury, feel that we cannot reach a unanimous decision.
The jury telling the judge late today they are deadlocked.
I must declare a mistrial at this time. There were 3 votes for guilty and 3 votes for not guilty.
Courtroom shocker, Dalia DiPolito walking out a free woman after a judge declared a mistrial in her murder-for-hire retrial.
I can count on one finger the number of people in this country who felt we even had a chance in this case.
Whenever you don't get a conviction, you're disappointed. But I knew that we had a great team and we would do it again and perhaps do it a little differently.
Immediately after trial number 2, the state attorney, Dave Ehrenberg, said, "We are taking her to trial again."
There was not a second when we thought that we would let her go free. Not a second.
Prosecutors vowing to try her a 3rd time.
And so now we're going on to Dalia Chapter 3.
This is the 3rd time DiPolito has been on trial for this murder-for-hire case.
Heading into the 3rd trial, prosecutors are certainly hoping that they can finally close the book on this case.
We knew she tried to commit murder, and she had gotten away with it thus far. And until we heard the word guilty, we were not going to be able to exhale fully.
This is the 3rd time DiPolito has been on trial for this murder-for-hire case.
Well, the prosecutors for the 3rd trial this time went back to the original strategy of putting on more of a prosecution.
We wanted the jury to get more context. We wanted the jury to see Michael DiPolito.
Introduce yourself to the jury for the record.
Hi, my name is Mike DiPolito.
By humanizing the victim, you impress upon them truly the importance of this case. It's vitally important that they put him on the stand.
Did her arrest for solicitation to commit first-degree murder shock you?
Yes.
Would it work? Well, in this 3rd trial, it didn't take long for the jury to make its decision.
A verdict for the woman on trial in a murder-for-hire.
Well, some say 3 times a charm, but not for Dalia DiPolito.
She was found guilty in 90 minutes. I mean, we were all a bit stunned. There was apparently no doubt in the jurors' mind.
16 years behind bars. That is the sentence for Dalia DiPolito.
Dalia DiPolito expressionless inside a Palm Beach County courtroom today, moments after learning her fate.
Dalia's current release date is 2032. She serves the entirety of that sentence. She'd be 49 years old when released.
Dalia, in jail, heads up a Bible study group. She misses her child dearly. Her mom has stepped up immensely to help take care of her little boy. He's a preschooler, and he comes to visit his mom in jail at least once a month. And Dalia has described him as being very playful, very happy, very outgoing. She is still determined to get a new trial and to get vindicated.
Dalia's attorneys have tried to get the verdict thrown out again.
Her case, she tried to get her case all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Earlier this year, the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear Dalia's appeal.
The Dalia DiPolito saga is finally over. The reality show is done. The last chapter has been written.
We're still fighting, and we're going to file a federal brief to attempt to get a new trial for Dalia.
After she left the prosecutor's office, Elizabeth Parker became Mike DiPolito's attorney and even helped get him off probation.
He paid all of the restitution that was owed to the victims.
Mike got engaged and seems to be moving forward with his life.
How much do you love this guy?
I love him a lot.
It's nice. Sometimes it's hard to accept something this good's happening to you.
He's very lucky to be alive.
It's not been an easy journey for him. He truly thought Dalia was the love of his life.
Did you ever love Mike DiPolito?
Yes. I married him because I loved him. I was in a relationship with him because I loved him.
And now?
Now I wish I never would have met I
Oh, I feel the same way. I I wish I would have made a left, not a right. Trust me.